Set the scene. It's mid to late April. E3 is coming up. There are 2 more slots left in the second Fighter Pass and several new Pokemon projects in the works, with Pokemon Snap releasing at the end of the month, the Diamond and Pearl remake slated for the end of the year, and Pokemon Legends slated for early next year. But none of that even matters because Nintendo has already proven that they will release a first-party character literally whenever they damn well feel like it, aka Mithra Pyra, aka Min Min, aka Sword of Byleth, although there was some Three Houses DLC coming out in that time frame too. But DLC is small fry timing when it usually takes an anniversary, a Switch port, or a new full game announcement for anyone to think a third-party character might have a chance in hell. The point being, a Pokemon character could come at any time, and this video is going to dive into what it might look like if that time was now. This video is going to have a shelf life of like a week, but I don't care. Let's talk possibilities. The way I see it, a new Pokemon character has 2 main options of where it could be from. What it could be has more options, but I think as far as which generation is concerned, you can only pull from 2 places right now. Generation 8 or Generation 4, otherwise known as Sword and Shield or Diamond and Pearl. Sword and Shield is the most recent generation, that one explains itself, but Generation 4 has been getting a heavy renewed focus from Pokemon lately, with not only the Gen 4 remakes, but Pokemon Legends also being set in the Sinnoh region, the same region as Diamond and Pearl. They love Sinnoh right now for some reason, and I have no idea why, so it stands to reason they could go even harder and potentially bring in a new Generation 4 representative, of which there is currently only Lucario. I don't think it makes any sense to do any generation other than 4 or 8. I've heard some weirdos saying they should add Grovyle from Gen 3 Ruby and Sapphire, and I'm like, why? Do you know what year it is? The entire Galar Pokedex would get him before he did. Unless a new Fighters Pass is announced, this year is it for Smash characters, and this is the year we're working with, and that year has decreed that Gen 4 and 8 are the wave that a new Pokemon character will hopefully ride. If a Pokemon fighter comes out and it's not Gen 4 or 8, you have my permission to come back and be super mean in the comments, say I told you so, and that I'm a trash factory, you shouldn't have a tongue anymore. If it's some brand new, previously unheard of Pokemon instead, this does not apply. Personally, I would bet more money on a Sword and Shield rep than a Diamond and Pearl one, but let's weigh our options anyway. Who would be good from Gen 4 to join Lucario in Brethren kinship? Maybe Riolu, his baby form, similar to how Pichu was added after Pikachu? Not a fan personally. Maybe a legendary Pokemon? Most of the ones from Gen 4 are built too awkwardly for that kind of movement. Can you imagine Dialga or Palkia trying to get around on stage? I could almost see Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf as skin swaps of each other, and they just kind of float around on stage, use their psychic powers, and not get hit by down tilts because they're floating high off the ground rather than low. People have always complained about some characters too short being low to the ground, never had the complaint of someone being too high above it. Imagine a floating Ness. You wouldn't love that? Can't imagine why. The main pool to draw from for most Pokemon, though, is the starters, and this is where I can sort of see the potential of a second Pokemon trainer, the Squirtle, Ivysaur, and Charizard of Gen 4. There's just one problem. I feel the Gen 4 starters are a bit less flexible. They certainly have Pokemon that could work as standalones, and even as duos, but the iconic trio, where each Pokemon is at a different stage of evolution, I can't find a version that feels like it works without taking some kind of leap. The closest one for me is Turtwig, Monferno, and Empoleon. I choose Turtwig as the grass type for the first stage because Grotle feels too slow and bulky for a second stage, and Torterra is basically an immovable object. Incineroar could lap that thing in a single lap race. Chimchar could also work as a first stage, but Monferno is 10 times more suited to being in Smash than any of the other mid stages, so it has to be Monferno for the second slot, which leaves Empoleon for the third. But again, it's a giant steel penguin. How does it move? How does it do a dash? How does it jump? Super Heavy would be putting it lightly. Empoleon would take one step off stage and fall faster than Metal Mario in Melee. The real issue is that none of the water types feel right. I guess you could have Prinplup waddling around being a useless laughingstock and take the hit there, so that Turtwig still works alongside Infernape instead of Monferno, but it would feel weird to have your largest character as the fastest while also not being heavy because Infernape canonically weighs less than I do, and I'm a skinny 20-something. He's 121 pounds, and he's not even 4 feet tall. I'm unwilling to compromise on Monferno, which means you'd have to find a way to make Empoleon look natural while jumping around and trying to recover off stage. But I guess they did it with Bowser, so maybe that is the right call. Also, I just looked and Empoleon weighs 186 pounds, which seems impossible. Empoleon weighs less than my human father. What? Fine, there's your character trio right there. Although my dad doesn't have steel flippers for arms that look like 2 surfboards, which is too bad because they probably make for some good aerials. Infernape could work as a good solo character too, no question. A fighting type is already fit for Smash, and the combination of power and speed is easily conceptualized, but I'm still very attached to the idea of Monferno being part of a group, and I feel like it would be weird to make a mid-stage evolution that isn't named Pikachu a solo character. Let's move on to Sword and Shield. In my opinion, the more likely avenue for a pick. What important Pokemon from Sword and Shield could get in? It's gotta be someone who matters, someone who stands out. We'll get to the starters in a second, but is there anyone else that fits the bill? Zacian, the legendary? You know how we love a good sword character, but I feel like being on 4 legs might make him stand out against the rest a little bit. Also, for the record, most characters in Smash aren't sword characters, only like a third of them are, and they all play plenty differently besides the Echoes, please internalize that. Also, if the character comes from Pokemon Sword, does that mean it's a sword character no matter what? Deep thoughts. I'd say the main pick for a legendary would be Urshifu though, from the Isle of Armor DLC. A fighting type legendary with 2 different forms, aka fighting styles. It doesn't make sense from a lore perspective to be able to swap between them unless you're literally switching between 2 different Urshifu, so I'd hope the water fighting type one got in because its Rapid Strike style is more unique in my opinion as far as martial arts goes and could fit in well. I'd be hyped for Urshifu, I wouldn't mind it at all. In fact, I can very clearly envision it in Smash. It would be a solid choice, maybe the best one Pokemon has to offer right now. We talked about a second Pokemon trainer for Gen 4, but what about Gen 8? All 3 final starter evolutions would actually make decent standalone characters. Inteleon is a sniping zoner with tail whips and slippery evasive maneuvers. Cinderace is a speedy soccer player with a ball projectile and kicks for days. And Rillaboom as a dumbass Donkey Kong clone with drumsticks. I would not like him, but they could make him work, as if the game needs another heavy monkey specifically. I'm not a huge fan of Inteleon, but the kid is there. As for Cinderace, I'm all in. Give me those kicks. Give me that ball control. I want to see Wii Fit Trainer Side B, but by foot. And the ball can stay on stage and be interacted with, but not picked up. Almost like Duck Hunts can if it could only be moved by physically hitting it. And also it's a ball, so it rolls around and goes off stage all the time, so you just summon another one. Give me that Gigantamax Final Smash. Give me that boot. Hell, give me his hidden ability Libero and some coverage moves like Iron Head and Acrobatics where he'll actually briefly change his type to match the move and make him more flexible as a character with the increased options. I'd rather a standalone character from Sword and Shield than a Pokemon trainer type because the final evolutions are all so workable. Maybe you could do a trainer with all 3 of them since they all definitely have different fighting styles, but there's something about that just seems like too much. I vote Cinderace. Cinderace or Rapid Strike Urshifu. Well, that's going to do it for this video, which is very niche, but something I felt I should type all the way up at 3 in the morning. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Sunburned Albino, and I'll see you guys next time.